Hi, good evening. So today is the 27th of July, June, 27th of June 2021, and this is a look back at the news from Zimmer Peacock for this week. I'm sort of clicking around a little bit at the moment because we normally, do this webinar, as you know, 8 p.m. every week, and it's a retrospective look back at the news from Zimmer Peacock for that week. But this week's a little bit more unusual because we're actually opening up a new lab tomorrow in Coventry. So this evening I'm at the Warwick Scientific Park or Science Park in Coventry, which is a city in the UK, and we've opened up an additional lab. So this is not one of the labs that you might be aware of in either in the UK or in Norway. This is a additional lab. It's quite a substantial lab. When I say substantial, it can kind of house, it can house 13 scientists quite comfortably. It's got HPLC in there, high pressure liquid chromatography. It's obviously got fume hoods, as you would expect. It's got a couple of parallel potentiostats. We've got a robotic system in there. We can do light mechanical, electronic engineering. So tonight's a little bit more unusual. You can see the background's a little bit different behind me, and it's because I'm actually doing this live streaming vlog and podcast from, as I say, Coventry, which is in the United Kingdom. I'm just going to go on to, so I appreciate the fact that every week we do this retrospective look back at the news, and a lot of you are pretty cool and you come along and just say hi of an evening like this. So I just want to give you a quick sort of indication of what we've been up to this week. This is going to be a short one. It's quite nice this week. We actually did a webinar to it's really focused around some of our sort of users in Vietnam this week. But as part of that webinar, we actually did a live streaming demo of the food sense, and one of our really cool engineers, she did a demonstration on measuring the hotness of sriracha hot sauce, and the demo went really well. She was really cool because first of all there was she did a measurement. For whatever bizarre, strange reason, the measurement went a bit askew, but she just very quickly redid it. And so, very good technology, and very good kudos to our engineer, who basically just sort of redid the test, and it was live, and I think that's pretty impressive. So, just a bit of news. This week we were doing a webinar for Vietnam, and we did touch upon the food sense, which we haven't touched on in a little while, but for you guys who came along to that, thank you for attending that. So I have some other news from Zimmer Peacock for this week. Like I say, it's been I wouldn't say it's been a light week. We've just been extremely busy this week, and as I say, the fact that I'm actually not where you normally see me, and the background has changed quite a lot, indicates that we're not in the normal place. We've travelled off, so we have been busy this week just getting ready for this lab. But we did have the ZP Developer Zone this week. We do that at 8 a.m. every Thursday. I appreciate it that a lot of you guys who listen to this vlog and watch this podcast come along. So I appreciate that. And this week we had some nice questions regarding reference electrodes and counter electrodes. Cool. So sweet. So hi, Ali. So one of our very regulars, Ali, is just online, so I appreciate that, Ali. This week it has been a bit busy, but here we are in Coventry. But on Thursday we did our normal webinar for the ZP Developer Zone members. So if you're not a member of the ZP Developer Zone, please join, because it's really well attended. And we get asked questions in the forum, and we answer questions in the forum. And I know that there's new questions going up this week. So 8 a.m. on Thursday, we have a live streaming webinar specifically for our ZP Developer Zone members. So please join in on that. So I appreciate you, a couple of guys who've come along this evening for this live streaming. Like I say, the background has changed because tomorrow morning we've got to get up nice and early, get into this new lab. I know that Ali, for example, has got quite a strong background in analytical chemistry, so you might be interested to hear about the HPLC system that we've got in there. But yeah, tomorrow is a busy day, so staying in a hotel this evening and then going to go in and set up this new lab tomorrow. Just for some other news from Zimmer and Peacock. This was ZP. We're kind of we're known for well known for our biosensors and our electronics. I just happen to have some of these electronics with me this evening. So the electronics are all pretty small and dinky. This is the Anapot, and then I have some screen printed electrodes here. In fact, I have quite a few things this evening. So I have the Anapot. If you're watching those demonstrations about the food sense, sometimes this is the food sense. So the food sense is a tiny little thing. And then we obviously have our screen printed electrodes. Now, we put a bit of a video out there this week that the business is starting to, really mature in terms of the business is really starting to mature in terms of our technology platform. And then just had a nice comment from Eng saying that he was appreciative of the material that we put out there. No, it's no sweat. That's what we want to do. And thanks, Ali. Yeah, that HPLC should be good fun. Now, I just want to talk about this quick video that we put out there this week, especially to people like Ali who are kind of very interested in the business. So at Zimmer Peacock, we do make, let's say, screen printed electrodes. They're small, they fit in these kind of instruments. Now the business is, let's say, is growing now, and so as well as doing the screen printed electrodes, we convert these into biosensors. So we've converted these into things like COVID-19 sensors, and those are actually on the market. The way the business is changing now is we obviously have these electronics, and so the food sensor is a good example. But those electronics, because of the Bluetooth enabled, the fact it's Bluetooth enabled means it talks to the smartphone. So the fact that we have sensors, the fact that we have the electronics, and the fact that we can do app development allows us to do this. It allows us to develop a biosensor, put the biosensor in the electronics, write an app, and then the user can actually press go on the app. The app will tell the electronics what to do. If it's square wave voltammetry, it'll tell it to do square wave voltammetry. If it's going to do cyclic voltammetry, it'll do cyclic voltammetry. If it's amperometry, it'll do amperometry. But the electronics is basically a full functioning potentiostat. But it's the app that tells it what to do. So the app sends a Bluetooth, via Bluetooth, sends the method file to the instrument. The instrument does the work, sends the data back. Now, when you look at this app, it's got an upload button, and so now the user can click that upload button. And many of you know that we've actually got a system called Julie, and the Julie accounts are free to open. But what this system means is this. Let's say your name is Ali, and you are developing a sensor for measuring a particular analyte in food. What this means is you can work with a company like Zimmer Peacock. You can make a sensor that is fairly good. So you have a fairly good sensor, and you have some electronics. Now what this means is this, that you can take the sensor, put it in the box, put a sample of food on the sensor, run the app. The app will tell the meter what to do. The meter will do the analysis. The data will come to back to the app, and by hitting the upload button, it will go straight to Julie. So this means we're able to move raw data, raw electrochemical data, straight to the cloud, and you can view it in the cloud. Now, what this means is, if you're doing application development, let's say you were trying to make a sensor for food, it means you could also then, you could take a real sample, electrochemically test it, and test it on a system like GC mass spec or HPLC, something else that you have in your laboratory. And what we would want to do is we want to have two streams of data. We want to be able, we will be able to easily get the electrochemical data, because the app will just send it straight to Julie once you click upload. But now if you take the same sample and test it by the traditional method, and by the traditional method I mean, you know, HPLC, GCMS, it could even just be tasting. So for example, but by doing the traditional method, you can label the data. You can give you can kind of say to us, it tasted spicy, or it didn't taste spicy, or I detected a protein in there that shouldn't have been in there, and there was this much protein. Because what that will allow us to do is this: it will allow us to take the electrochemical data, take the analytical data, and look at our electrochemical data and say, you know, we know it's labeled, we know how much concentration of protein in there. What features in that electrochemical signal, is it feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, or a combination of those features? What features are most reflective of the, let's say, the golden standard? When I say golden standard, you know, the method that's most accepted by the industry. So this is easier in a medical application, because in a medical application, what we're often doing is we're often trying to make quick and easy tests for blood. But there's often a clinical test that already exists, and a clinical test is the gold standard. So what we want to do is we want to put a drop of blood on the biosensor. Via the app, we can get the data to the cloud. The same, let's say, drop of blood or blood can then be tested in the clinical laboratory, where, you know, you can use an ELISA assay. And then we want to say what algorithm will what algorithm will give us the strongest signal in our electrochemical data that best correlates with our third-party analysis. And when I mean, you know, the golden standard, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that our biosensor value is as well correlated with the clinical result or the analytical result as possible. And so at ZP, we're really maturing this technology essentially, because, you know, when we started many years ago now, you know, it was just screen printing and electrodes. It's matured into biosensors. It's matured into the electronics. It's matured into apps. It's matured into cloud. But now we can bring it all together and really speed up the development, because essentially somebody can be doing biosensor testing, you know, in lab, you know, in Australia, and very quickly the data can come back to Zimmer and Peacock, and we can really work on the algorithm development, even though these real samples and the guy doing the testing, you know, is thousands of miles away. And so I just want to kind of say that, you know, we truly have brought everything together now in a platform. I think it's probably the first time in at least the history of electrochemistry that this kind of workflow has truly existed. So that's a significant, let's say, move for Zimmer and Peacock. And what it sort of is about is, you know, that we're really the sensor to information company, rather than, you know, being that sort of another screen printed electrode company. We do screen printed electrodes, and we try to make the best electrodes in the world. But the reason we can make the best electrodes in the world is because we've really seen the big picture. So yeah, just want to kind of talk about that a little bit, which I think I have. This is a bit more fun, but these are genuine pictures that came out of ZP this week. You know, this is if you order products from us before the products come out, the QA team will have actually tested them to make sure that the solution or the screen printed electrodes or the biosensors, of course, are functional. So this is Mikael with Christopher in the background, and they've got the sort of paperwork in front of them, and they're basically just doing a test to make sure that everything's functioning right. I thought it was a nice picture because they were smiling. And I generally I believe that ZP is a cool company. We try to make sure we're creating cool technology and rewarding and fulfilling roles for people. And so Mikhail and Christopher, a couple of guys doing quality control or quality assurance and just checking things before they ship out. And then last thing this week, this was in fact, I'll hold one up to you. I just happen to have one. So at Zimmer and Peacock, we make biosensors. Now this biosensor there's a screen printed electrode here. There's microfluidics here. There's something called an RFID chip here. Now that RFID chip is actually carries calibration factors. So this is a complete calibration factor chip is up here. Microfluidics for collecting the breath is here. Biosensor is here. And the reason I'm showing it on here as well is we've been shipping these out this week, and these are with one of our very good clients for actually detecting COVID-19 on the breath. So I think it really gives you a sense of what's happening at Zimmer and Peacock. So I'm here because we're opening up a new lab. This week we've obviously been generally shipping these COVID-19 sensors. I mean, look at them and they're a very mature product. We have very much matured our entire, let's say, our entire platform. So that now we can go from screen printed electrode to biosensor, from biosensor to electronics, from electronics to app, from app to cloud, and then from cloud, then we can really develop the algorithms and make the most accurate sensor we possibly can. So, Eng, thanks very much, and Ali for coming along this week. Like I said, I want to keep it a little bit shorter this week, and like I say, I wanted to make sure I got to this hotel. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Eng's asking, are you working with SOC as you will avoid any parasitic noise, but I know more complex. All right, well, interesting. I don't quite understand the question, but a question came up, so I might just drop a little note just to see. Well, I won't drop a little note, but just join the developer zone and ask the question in the developer zone. So I have to apologize. It's going to be short this week. Like I say, we've come up to these hotels because we have to go in and set up a new lab tomorrow. Ali, thanks for sending us the bottle of champagne. I did mention that these labs are fairly close to Newcastle, not a couple of 100 miles, but not that far in the grand scheme of things. All right, so thanks for this week, Eng. If you haven't joined the ZP Developer Zone, please make sure you do. Appreciate you coming along this evening, guys, and I will speak to you soon. I'm gonna go get some food. All right, take care.